Well, obviously, it was a hard-fought game. The game got better for the fans as well as Cincinnati as the game went on. We were able to score some points. We looked awfully ugly early on the offensive end in the game. Give Nebraska a lot of credit. They're as well coached a team defensively, especially defensively, probably overall, as you play against all year. So they take things away from you. They make nothing easy. And they really challenge your guys to make some adjustments. And we did that, simplified some things. I thought we got the ball inside. So once we started getting the ball inside, the game changed for us. Trying to score inside and play inside out. They had us playing in circles in the first half. Then once we did that, that was the difference in the game. Our big guys started to assert themselves. We're not very good if those guys can't score inside for us, and they did in the second half.
Mick, what's it been like coming back for you after taking most of last year off? Is there a different perspective for you?
Nah. To be honest, I've been asked that so many times I don't remember. I've been back for so long. If we'd have beat Kentucky, I'd have probably coached the next game. So the whole thing's been crazy. But to be honest, when you have my job, you're so busy, this seems like 10 years ago. But the whole thing was like the Twilight Zone, to give you an answer. So I'm just fortunate. I tell everybody that be thankful for your health because it's not promised. Most people, they say, yeah, and they move on about their day. But people that have gone through it or had a family member go through any type of thing, they understand what I'm talking about. So I don't take anything for granted. I probably really appreciate just being able to coach and being, and having my health. But I also know it's not promised tomorrow.
Is that something you kind of thought of more, given that it's the Thanksgiving holiday?
We don't really observe holidays in the college coaching. Holidays don't exist for us other than the 4th of July because that's the dead period in recruiting. My daughter and I usually have a great time that weekend. So, but not really, to be just so busy, locked in. But I think for me, it's probably I have that mentality now all the time of, being thankful. And I'm probably a lot more cognizant of what other people, when I see other people go through things, that I have much more empathy when I see that type of stuff. You notice everything now because it's something that happened. When you went through something weird and you see other people go through it, probably move, you keep it moving. You feel bad, but you keep it moving, where I probably stop and pay a lot more attention to it.
This is kind of a half-full, half-empty question for you, but are you more pleased at all the offensive rebounds or distressed by how many missed shots?
Well, we shot 46% in the second half, so what I would say, the second half offense, we was a tale of two halves for us. You got to be able to win when you don't make shots. But for us, our three-point shooting is still, 41%. We struggled we just didn't score inside in the first half. We just missed a lot of shots, point blank, and didn't finish with strength. I think this team can be a team that averages a lot more points than we have in the past. If we just got to string these two halves together. Now, I'll give Nebraska credit because, again, they're great defensively. Tim's a great coach, and they were physical with us. But our guys adjusted as the game went on. That's what I was happy with.
Of those 10 lead changes, the 10th happened when Ellis had those 3 straight post buckets. I mean, what did he start, particularly with him, as he gave him the ball in better space?
Well, two things. Yeah, he's asserting himself, catching it. He caught it a lot deeper, and we got it to him. We tried to simplify some things at halftime. Because we got DeBerry a deep post up, and he had an easy one. Gary Clark had a couple. Those were the difference in the game. They really had us playing in circles in the first half. So I always try to give the other team credit, and when that happens, instead of coming in here saying, we did a bad job. We were trying to get it inside, but they're not. They're being coached by some really good coaches.
How important were Caupain and Thomas keeping you in it to get?
Oh, it's huge. Troy. Shaq's a fifth-year senior for us. He started playing with confidence as the game went on. That was big. That's where your upperclassmen tend to step up. And I think, Troy Caupain is one of the best guards in the country. People are going to find that out as the year goes on. That's how good I think he is. He's the youngest junior in the country as well. He's still 19.
You have Butler, VCU, Xavier, Iowa State. You have a tough December schedule. Is that on purpose?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what, we have some, just because of our conference, we have some great high-ranked teams in our conference. We have some other ones that have struggled in a rebuilding mode. So you got to offset this. So for me, you got to have at least 6 really, really tough games, 2 this weekend, and then obviously the 4 you alluded to in December. So, so you got 2 neutral, 2 home, 2 away, balance it out.
How important was Shields' foul trouble?
I thought they could have really struggled with that, but the way Taj Webster shot the ball in the first half, he hasn't shot the ball like that in his career at Nebraska. So I give the kid credit. I mean, he kept them in it. He hit 2 banged in 2 threes, and he made some big time plays.
Following up on Troy, Mick, you've had some great guards before Cashmere Wright, Deontay Vaughn. Where would you put him among some of the players you've had?
He's getting there. Now, his point, Sean Kilpatrick, obviously, second leading scorer and scored 2,000 points. But Troy's a point guard, and he's a big point guard. He's as good a point guard as I've had. Deontay was a combo guy. The thing about Troy is, when you look down, he's just played another game with no turnovers. I think that's his 3rd straight. I mean, you look at our season statistics, he's such a plus guy. He's very smart, and he's a plus guy. Some guys they score points because they take a lot of shots. Other guys have 5 assists because they're wheeling and dealing, and they also got 5 turnovers. He's a winning player. Now, I tell pro scouts about him all the time because there's so many kids now that are 19-year-old freshmen, and he's a 19-year-old junior. Thanks, guys.
To be real with you, I'm really from New York. I lived in Long Island, Amityville, New York, so it was one of my biggest dreams, playing in New York. I've always wanted to play in the Garden. In my freshman year, I was allowed to, and now being able to play in Brooklyn is definitely one of the dreams that I've always had.
Compare Madison Square Garden to Barclay.
Well, for Brooklyn is more newer. The bathrooms look better, the seats look better. But for the Garden, it's more historic. It's been legends that ran through the Garden. All the pictures that you see walking through the city, smelling the honey roasted peanuts. I feel the Garden's better, but I like Brooklyn as well.
Troy, obviously you guys, especially in the first half as a team, missed a bunch of shots, but the guys down low kept giving you 2nd and even 3rd chances. How important were they?
Really important, Coach kept saying, if shots don't fall, you still got to, get offensive rebounds. That's what wins games. He tells us all the time that the stats for professional teams on the first shot is, I want to say 26%, and then second chance shots is like 42 or something like that. So he tells us that every time. So when the bigs, when we shoot it, it's a must that the bigs get the rebound, and then we look for second chance opportunities.
Obviously, you were shooting well from outside tonight. It seemed like you had some separation, but did you just feel hot tonight?
It was just one of them nights. If the ball looked good going in, I had a lot of confidence tonight. My team backed me up. We backed each other up. Just playing out there, having a good time, smiling. The game come to you. It's always a great time.
Your teammate Shaq's also from the area, and he stepped up tonight too. What did you see from him? It seemed like whether it was a corner 3 or a drive, he was doing a little of everything tonight.
Yeah, that's Shaq for you though. Shaq can knock down a corner shot. He can rebound very well. He's very athletic. We just keep preaching to him when the ball comes to you, don't overthink it. Go with your first instinct. If you hit wide open, shoot it. If you can get an offense rebound, go attack the glass. If you can attack it and score, finish above the rim, we love that too. And he played with a lot of confidence. He didn't second guess anything tonight, and Shaq Thomas played well.
Did you feel like Javon, for the other team, they only played 20 minutes tonight, he had 2 quick fouls in the first 127 or so? Did you feel like that had an impact on the game? He was one of their go-to guys offensively and obviously couldn't get going.
Yeah, he's one of their best players. They kind of need him. He does a lot. He draws 2 defenders by attacking. He can knock down the shot. We fouled the scouting report very well, and it was to attack him, try to get him in foul trouble early, keep him out the paint, force him to be a shooter, and it happened well today. We fouled the scouting report very well. The coaches did a wonderful job, and the team paid attention, and we played well.
Octavia struggled to finish a little bit early on, but was unstoppable down the stretch when you needed him. Was the approach any different, or was it something just falling for him?
When Ak understands that nobody can stop him with his length and his arms and the way that he jumps, Ak can be a wonderful player. When he plays at 6'10", when he plays 6'6", it's hard. It's hard for him to score. You know, if Ak can play with his head above the rim and his arms length, you know, score above the rim, I think Ak can be a wonderful player. And that's what we kept telling him. Stop short-arming your half hook, or stop short-arming your layups, double pumping. Shoot your first shot. Go up strong, you know. Put your head to the bottom of the net and let your arm take the ball to the rim. And he understood it at the end, and he finished the game strong.